morning! Welcome to another episode of Away Ako the Telemagazine. Kada may mga lakad ngayon, naghahanap kami ng pang Filip+Inna, yung good alternative na you don't look like everybody. So nag-research kami ni Monina. And it led us here to Filip+Inna. Di ba ang ganda ng play of words, Filip+Inna. So tara, let's go! Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Hello, Monina.
Hi, hello.
I was telling her, parang we wanted options for, you know, Filip+Inna na different, na magsa-stand out ka naman, but using things that, you know, were really done by the communities.
Locally made.
Filip+Inna is really a contemporary ready-to-wear line, and right now we're working with around 12 to 14 indigenous groups around the Philippines, and I think what's on display now basically comes from like the tiboli and gadang, and then we started working with the manobos, and we ended up using their beadwork and made it more into like as an accessory. So that's what Filip+Inna is really all about. It's all about the artisans around the Philippines and looking into what particular skill that they have that we can make use of and apply it into either clothing, accessories.
What led you to that traditional?
I credit it to my parents. I grew up in Mindanao. My dad was in government, and so growing up I would see all the Maranaos come to our homes in their traditional malong, and then my mom is from Basilan. So where the Yakans are from, and then my mom used to dance for Bayanihan, Philippine Dance Company, and when I
Same with you?
Yes, we danced for Bayanihan as well, and that really ignited love for Philippine culture. So I think it was really merging my love for fashion and my love for Philippine culture, and I wanted a brand name that would really be obviously very Filipino, so I started with the most obvious, that I'm Filip+Inna, and we just like played around with it. And
Pero ngayon na term na in a party, are you wearing a Cabili?
No,
diba?
it should be a Filip+Inna.
Yeah.
That's why I called it Filip+Inna, because it really should point back to the artisans. You know, it's a skill that's innate to them. You know, it's passed down from one generation to another, and then they're able to make a living out of it.
That's good.
So na-empower yung women.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the local and the international market.
Right now, I would say it's like 50-50, and I think there's a revival for love of, you know, things that are made in the Philippines, and especially there's a growing interest in the indigenous groups. So people are now more aware of fabrics that's inabel, or I think people know about the tinalak. There are specific groups that are more known than the others. So I feel Filip+Inna is in a position to introduce other groups. That's why for 2017 we're doing 12. And one group that I'm really excited about is the Taga-Kaulo. Not a lot of people know about them, but they're in Sarangani, and they live really high up in the mountains. And we just started working with them, and they have beautiful embroidery, beadwork.
So Sarvi, in essence, when you are buying a Filip+Inna, you are buying a piece of art.
Yeah, so for our 2017 collection, we're working with the Itneg, and we hope to use their embroidery and their fabric. And then the Kalinga, we've picked up on their patterns, and the Gadang, basically their beadwork. And then Lumban, we're doing a Piña collection. And then number 5 is Mangyan in Mindoro. They have beautiful embroidery. And then number 6 is Maranao. We're looking into the Okir. Number 7 is, of course, Tiboli, their embroidery and beadwork. And number 8 is Bilaan, same embroidery and beadwork. 9, Taga-Kaulo. And then 10, the Tausug, mostly in their buttons and their patterns. and then 11 is the yakan, and we're really excited because it's I think when people will look at the whole collection, they'll basically as if they're looking at like the whole archipelago, you know. Yeah, and I've always said this when I'm asked to talk, that culture is our fingerprint, that we should always take inspiration from it. So that's Filip+Inna is our way of like taking inspiration from our culture, and it's in a way honoring the indigenous groups because they become part of the whole brand. And if you go from up north to down south, there's so much. I mean, so much to be proud of, and there's so much skill that's out there. You know, it takes time. You always need to build a relationship with them, and I think that's what we have been able to do with Filip+Inna. That we've been able to really build relationships with the artisans.
So dito ngayon sa business mo, it's more of you're building a relationship with your supplier.
There are only two things that's very important: the artisan and the client. So in terms of the artisan, we find ways to really take good care of them, and then we come up with good designs so the client is happy, because we need the client also to be able to sustain the whole thing.
Given a chance to talk to your consumers, what would you say?
We should really be proud as Filipinos, and I hope that translates into buying something that is locally made, or supporting or having that interest in the indigenous groups, because it's our way of giving homage or giving respect.
Ikaw muna. Ano yung tutunan natin ngayon this episode?
I feel na this is one way of preserving our culture, our heritage, and sa mga ating ka-OA, tangkilikin po natin ang ating katutubong disenyo at mga kadamitan. At para kasi ito yung reflection ng ating pagmamahal sa ating pagiging Pilipino.
I hope that this episode inspired you by the Filipino tradition. Join us again for next week's episode of OA Ako.